Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and finding it out oil prices rise sharply overnight. The vegetable you buy become more expensive and the flight ticket costs more. Stock market becomes more volatile and suddenly a war happening thousands of kilometers away in the West Asia start affecting everyday's life in India. This is not hypothetical scenario. Whenever tension rises between Israel and Iran, the entire world pays attention. But for India, the stakes are even more higher because India is not just watching this conflict. India's energy security, economy, its trade route, diplomatic relations, and the safety of millions of Indians working in the West Asias are connected to what happened next. Today, as India and Iran stand opposite sides and United States become increasingly involved in the matter, one question matter more for every Indian citizen is that if this conflict turns into larger war, what will be the impact on India? And the answer is far more complex than simply rising oil prices. But before we understand India's challenges, we need to understand how the tension escalated to this point. The Israel and Iran conflict is not new. For decades, both countries have been engaged in shadow war fought directly and indirectly through proxy groups. Iran has built influence through allies and armed groups such as Hezbollah in Lebanon, Houthis in Yemen, and through various militia groups in Iraq and Syria. On the other side, Israel has conducted military operation, intelligence mission, and targeted strikes aimed at reducing Iran influence in region. Over the years, this conflict has involved missile attacks, cyber warfare, assassination, and clashes across multiple countries, even where Israel and Iran were not officially at war. However, the situation turned more serious in March 2026 when Israel and USA joint military attack killed Iran's supreme religious and political leader Khamenei, along with several senior Iranian military commanders. For Tehran, this was not just another attack, it was a direct challenge to Iranian state. These follows cycle of retaliation, missile attacks and military escalation that pushes West Asia to a full-scale regional conflict. And whenever West Asia moves toward war, India cannot afford to look away. Now the question is, what does all of this mean for India? India is directly affected across three dimensions because of the Israel and Iran war. India's significant portion, approx 65 to 70% of India's crude oil passes through Strait of Hormuz. Longer disruption lead to rises fuel import bills, adding to inflation and pressure on current account. I repeat, India imports approx 70 to 75% of its crude oil from West Asia. It also affects Indian diaspora. About 90 lakh to 1 crore Indians lives in Gulf countries, the largest India's diaspora concentration in the world, and approx 40% of India's total remittance comes from the Gulf region. If oil is the bloodline of Indian economy, maritime routes are its arteries. And because of war in the West Asia, it threatens both. West Asia lies at crossroad of the world important maritime trade route. Every day, thousands of ships passes through Strait of Hormuz, Gulf of Oman, Red Sea and Arabian Sea. In recent years, you have heard of the Houthis' attack on Red Sea, which disrupted the shippings. India, which heavily depends on maritime trade, shipping disruptions, supply chain uncertainty affects India's trade with Gulf and beyond. So where should India stand? The important question is, where should India stand? As the conflict deepens, many Indians are asking a simple question: should India support Israel or Iran? The answer is neither and both. India's foreign policy is not just about choosing side, it is about protecting its interest. So the question is why India cannot abandon Israel. Israel is New Delhi's one of the important defense and technology partner. India depends on Israel for expertise in defense, missile, cybersecurity, agriculture and water management. Now, so why India cannot ignore Iran? Iran is crucial for India access to Central Asia through its strategic Chabahar port. Stability in Iran affects India's energy security and regional connectivity. So the important question is why taking side could hurt New Delhi. If India openly supports Israel, it will changes its ties with Iran and will complicate its access to Central Asia, which is important for India's geopolitics. If India openly supports Iran, then also it could strain its relationship with Israel, United States, and several Gulf countries. And in both cases, India's core interests, that is, energy security, trade, defense cooperation, and safety of millions of Indians in West Asia have been may get compromised. So, what should India do? It should maintain its neutral stance and call for de escalation, diplomacy, and regional stability. For India, this is not choice between Israel and Iran, but to protect its national interest. And in geopolitics, nation survives by protecting their interests and not by always taking side in every conflict.